No, this was a name that we had sources that had been telling us that Tulsi Gabbard, the former Democratic Congresswoman turned Republican, would be tapped for the Director of National Intelligence role. And just here in the last moments, that's exactly what happened. Donald Trump announcing that Tulsi Gabbard will take the reins, if confirmed by the U.S. Senate, of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, of course, is somebody who rose to prominence back in 2017 when she took a secret trip to Syria to meet with President Bashar al-Assad. At the time, he was alleged to have ordered the killings of hundreds of thousands of Syrian civilians. It was a trip that was repudiated by Democrats and Republicans alike at the time that ultimately the U.S. was determining how it would engage and respond to the killings of civilians. And in the aftermath of that, she was hesitant to call him a dictator and was hesitant to condemn him for the actions that were taking place in Syria. Ultimately, she ran for president in 2019 as a Democrat. She was somebody that irked a great many other Democrats on that stage, taking on memorably then Senator Kamala Harris. Ultimately, in the aftermath of the 2020 election, she ended up going and making her presence on Fox News routine before becoming a close ally of Tucker Carlson, and somebody who then closely aligned herself with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. before just a couple weeks ago at a campaign rally that I was at in Michigan, going up on stage and declaring that she was now officially a member of the Republican Party because of Donald Trump and had sought to play a key role in his administration. She was, I'm told, an honorary chair on this transition team here, and now Donald Trump clearly trusting of Tulsi Gabbard and placing her in this critical national intelligence position.
All right, so Courtney, her in that role, I mean, she's the air traffic controller, if you will, of intelligence, which going to come from the Pentagon, it's going to come from the CIA, the FBI, also from the national security team within the White House. Tell me a little bit about what it means to have her in a role like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the huge question here is, what is this going to mean for career intelligence officers? How are they going to see someone who, as we just heard Vaughn say, met with Bashar al-Assad and said that he is not the enemy of the people? And at the time, there was a tremendous amount of outcry about the fact that she was defending someone who had slaughtered his own people and was in an ongoing campaign of killing civilians in his country and virtually allowing ISIS to build up, who were also tormenting the civilians in his country, while at the same time allowing Russia to move into the country and also terrorize the population. So it's a surprising development that she would be put in charge of the intelligence community, because, as you mentioned, Katie, air traffic controller is a very interesting way to put this, because for all intents and purposes, the other intelligence agencies all essentially root through the Director of National Intelligence. Yeah. So it's a very powerful position. It's almost like, as you said, it's a gatherer, but it's also an aggregator of that information, that intelligence. And we all know Donald Trump has been very outspoken, and many people around him, about their feelings that they don't trust the U.S. intelligence agencies and they don't trust their products. So the huge question now is, how could that manifest with a Tulsi Gabbard at the head of that agency?
We have Richard Haas standing by for us. I want to bring him in a second, but because he's going to have a lot to weigh in on here. But Jake, I want to ask you first, confirmation for Tulsi Gabbard, would she meet any resistance?
This is going to be the most difficult nomination to get through the United States Senate, period, hard stop. I mean, this and Hegseth, right? I mean, I don't know that Tulsi Gabbard gets confirmed by the Senate. Let me just put it that way. Again, he has chosen a lot of people with easy paths to confirmation. John Ratcliffe at the CIA, Marco Rubio, Kristi Noem, all of those folks will get confirmed. I mean, Marco Rubio could probably almost get confirmed on voice vote. He won't, but he probably could get close. Tulsi Gabbard is going to be extraordinarily difficult, and it's just a tough pill to swallow, because senators are, as we just saw, Katie, in the Senate leadership race earlier today, the whole right Trump Twitter sphere went crazy over Rick Scott and all of that and said he should be the leader, and senators didn't really care. So I think you're going to see a lot of that when it comes to these nominations. And remember, Mitch McConnell is another free agent when it comes to these nominations. He has 2 years left in his Senate term. He is no longer in Senate Republican leadership. He has been very critical of Trump in this new biography that came out. He thinks Trump is an unserious person, and I think he'll share the opinion that some of these nominees are not serious people. So Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth are going to be two incredibly difficult nomination processes.
We will watch and see. We're going to learn a lot about what Congress is going to be like and what they're going to rubber stamp with Donald Trump in these confirmation processes coming up in January. All right, Vaughn Hillyard, Courtney Kube, Jake Sherman, thank you very much.